Here's an MTD blower that just came in. Reason why I'm making this video is the guy said he went to use it and then it revved up really high and he couldn't control the throttle anymore, which is down here. And when you use it, you don't feel anything moving inside here. So I'm just going to take this cover off here to show you what can cause that. Now to remove this cover here, you usually have to remove a small screw over here, which this one is already off. There's usually only one screw over here, and then there's two screws here, and there's already one missing. Like I said, there's usually only one screw here. Now you'll have to pop the choke knob off. You can use a screwdriver and just push out. Like that. I'll just bring the cover out. Now when you go to remove the cover, you're going to see that there's a wire that goes from the key inside over here down to over here at the terminal. So now you have to disconnect this wire here, which comes from the key. And now the whole cover will come right out without any restrictions. Now usually a problem like that will be due to the linkages that go from the carburetor to the governor and to this mechanism here. And the problem is right down here where my finger is. This mechanism here is supposed to be straight up here. Somehow it's been pushed and you can see that it's stuck under the fuel line right over here and it doesn't want to come back up. What I'm going to do to get back in its position is I'm going to loosen up the carburetor bolts over here. They're a T30. Now that I've got the bolts loose, I'm going to try to bring that mechanism back up. So I'm just going to push underneath. There we go. I'm wondering why it got there in the first place. So I notice it's a bit better now that I brought this thing back up, but it's still not 100%. What I've noticed in the process of them forcing the lever is that they bent the linkage that goes from the governor to the throttle mechanism over here. You can see in there, if you look at the linkage that I'm shaking, it's kind of bent. Here's another linkage that I took off a motor that was blown last year. It's nice and straight. So what I'm going to do is take off the carburetor from here, replace it with this linkage, and she should be good as new. So now I'll completely remove the bolts that hold the carburetor to the manifold. So I've realized I can probably just bend this one back nice and straight like that. So that looks pretty good to me. So now I'm just going to put it back together. When you go to put it back together, make sure this is up like that when you mount the carburetor on to the manifold here. So now I'll just line up the holes. Put the two torque screws in. It's pretty simple. Now even if you're not a mechanic and you're watching this video, you're going to be able to do this because it's pretty easy. And you want to tighten these up evenly. You can also put Loctite in the threads of these screws if you want, if you're afraid that they're going to vibrate themselves off. So now when I test the linkage, it looks good. The throttle butterfly lever here moves good, and I'm going to use the actual red knob here, and you can see that's working real good. So now it's time to try out the blower, and hopefully this quick fix will have solved the problem. So as you can see, it was a fairly simple problem to repair, Now this may have been caused by pushing too hard on the throttle lever right here. So if you notice some resistance on your throttle lever when you go to start it up in the fall, don't push it too hard. You can always spray the linkages and the mechanism with liquid wrench. This may prevent this problem here from happening. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.